New South Wales, the agricultural lifeline of Australia, generating billions of dollars every year. But now it's under siege by bloodthirsty wild boars. These beasts tear through the land, ripping up soil, destroying crops, and causing tens of millions in damage. To protect this fertile ground, hunters from across the country are mobilizing, and we're among them. The battle for survival has begun. Can we stop them before it's too late? Join us and witness the fight right now. 5 a.m. As the first light of dawn breaks the horizon, we load up our gear and climb into our trusty vehicle, rolling out toward the rendezvous point. The moment we arrive, the team immediately fans out, moving to our pre-planned hiding spots. 20 minutes pass, dead silence. Not a sound, not a sign. Then, just as I crouch behind a thick bush, a massive wild boar, easily 500 pounds, bursts out of nowhere, charging just a few meters in front of me. A sharp crack of gunfire cuts through the stillness, followed by another. The beast crashes to the ground, motionless on the grass. A solid start to the hunt. In the next field over, Leon had also spotted his target. Finally, the herd appeared. Leon quietly chambered a round, locked onto his target, and pulled the trigger. A thunderous gunshot echoed through the field. The rest scattered, instantly vanishing into the brush in a flash. All that remained was a massive wild boar, motionless on the ground. But the hunt was far from over. With its open terrain, it was the perfect spot to track the beasts. And just as we predicted, a large group of wild boars had begun to emerge, tearing up the dry soil with their sharp hooves. Gunshots rang out immediately, but these boars were fast. Most of them managed to escape into the brush, leaving only a few bodies behind. We couldn't let those beasts get away so easily. I quickly radioed the team, marking the exact area that needed to be tracked. Just 5 minutes later, Leon spotted a big, heavy one weaving its way through the tall grass.
I like it!
Leon quietly raised his rifle, tracking every step it took and squeezed the trigger. One clean shot, the boar staggered, stumbled, and dropped to the ground. At the same time, on the eastern side of the field, Ram had also spotted the silhouette of a wild boar hiding in the dry brush. Several of them burst out in panic, trying to escape the hunting dogs. Gunshots cracked through the chaos clean, Precise dropping 2 boars instantly onto the grass. About 5 minutes later, another one charged out unexpectedly. Without a moment's hesitation, Ram brought it down with a single shot. Night was falling fast, and we rushed to track down the last of the stragglers. The field had fallen eerily quiet, only the sound of grass crunching beneath our boots. Suddenly, a wild boar burst through the undergrowth. It was fleeing from something, but it had chosen the wrong direction. A gunshot tore through the silence once more. The boar collapsed in the tall grass this time. It wasn't getting away. In Georgia, when you hear dogs howling at night, you know it's either thieves or wild boars are back. But this time, I wasn't going to wait for them to destroy more. These boars had grown bolder, even coming close to houses in broad daylight. This wasn't for sport anymore. If we didn't hunt, there would be nothing left to harvest next season. So I gathered a few folks, brought hunting dogs, and a few rifles, and we headed into the woods at the crack of dawn. Wild boars are most active from dusk until nightfall. So at the start of the day, I spent over an hour wandering through the forest before spotting the first targets. 3 boars were quietly weaving through tall, leafless trees. I raised my gun, aimed with precision, and fired several shots in a row. Each one hit a target. Not a single boar escaped. With a smooth start, morale soared. Wild boar hunting is a game of patience and focus. Every sense must stay alert so that when the moment comes, you seize it and pull the trigger. Success doesn't just come from the gun. It comes from the hunter's calm and persistence. With that mindset, we ventured deeper into the woods in search of the next target. After waiting for about half an hour, the dogs picked up a fresh scent. Two boars were hiding in a dense bush. One shot rang out, but it only struck one in the leg. The dogs weren't letting it go. They immediately gave chase. The wounded boar couldn't run far and was quickly surrounded. I set up an ambush near a forest trail. Suddenly, a jet black boar burst from the bushes and dashed across the path at incredible speed. I instinctively raised my rifle and fired several shots in quick succession, but unfortunately, it managed to escape. On the way out of the forest, we decided to linger in an open field, and luck was on our side. A herd of wild boars appeared out of nowhere. I quickly raised my gun, excitedly aiming for the biggest one near the end of the line. I waited for the right moment and pulled the trigger decisively. The boar dropped on the spot. Seeing the weather hadn't worsened, we decided to extend the hunt and headed for a different forest. There, I found a good ambush spot and waited. Soon, a new target appeared, a large boar. The moment it saw me, it ran. Despite their bulk, wild boars can run incredibly fast when threatened, up to 50 kilometers each. This makes them a formidable and elusive target. A single mistake, and the chance slips away. We continued toward an area with more boar tracks. With limited daylight left, every minute counted. After half an hour of waiting, a black silhouette appeared in the distance, moving toward me. I couldn't afford to miss it. I gripped the gun tight, locked onto the target, and pulled the trigger. The shot rang out, the boar collapsed. And just like that, a long day ended with words. We were exhausted, but everyone was satisfied. Out here in the deep woods, every hunt isn't just about survival or protecting crops. It's a lesson in patience and courage. Wild boars used to be part of the untamed wilderness, but in recent years, they've bred at an alarming rate and quickly become a nightmare for the people of Colorado. From the forest edges, they've started appearing in large numbers across the fields, devastating crops, and causing increasingly severe damage. Faced with this reality, hunting is no longer just a sport. It has become a mission to protect the land, the crops, and the livelihoods of local people. Today's hunt was carefully planned, from weapons and ammunition to the hunting dogs. We began moving into an area frequently visited by wild boars, our heartbeats taut like drawn strings. Ahead of us lay a freshly harvested field, completely open and expansive, an ideal feeding ground for wild boars, but also perfect for an ambush. With nothing to obstruct the view, the first target soon appeared. A lone boar trotted along the edge of the field. I raised my gun. Took careful aim and pulled the trigger. After a few gunshots, the boar was hit and collapsed on the spot. The early success lifted our spirits, but to encounter more targets, we had to redirect toward the hilly area behind the field, where the rugged terrain showed heavy signs of wild boar activity. As soon as we arrived, I chose a high, open vantage point for better visibility. Oof. It didn't take long before the next target appeared. It dashed down a slope, tried to escape into a dense thicket below. Without hesitation, I raised my rifle, timed my shot, and squeezed the trigger. A volley of shots rang out. The boar was hit and rolled down the hill. After about an hour, we decided to move into a lower, flatter area to improve our chances of spotting targets from afar. The pack of hunting dogs now truly showed their value. With fewer obstacles in the terrain, they easily picked up scents and chased down prey. However, with sparse trees and fewer hiding spots, we hunters had to be extremely cautious and absolutely silent. Wild boars are incredibly alert. If we didn't stay well hidden, they could easily detect our presence and flee immediately. I spotted another boar. It charged out from the edge of a bush, only about 5 meters from my ambush spot. The situation was sudden and intense. I immediately raised my rifle and fired. A clean shot. The boar was hit, crashed into the dirt, and dust exploded into the air. Through the cloud, the boar lay motionless. The whole moment lasted only a few seconds, but it felt as tense as a confrontation with a fierce predator. The hunt wasn't over yet. Sensing a rare opportunity, I quickly raised my rifle and fired. The bullet struck straight into its neck. The boar staggered and collapsed to the ground without any chance to fight back. By afternoon, this time, I stationed myself at the edge of a bush, firmly gripping my rifle, eyes scanning for the slightest movement, ready for anything unexpected. Luckily, this ambush paid off with a generous reward. Time was running out for the day, so we made every minute count. Staying calm, I stepped back to maintain a safe distance, then raised my rifle and fired. A precise shot, the boar dropped instantly. In the wilderness, there is no place for carelessness. Every step taken in the forest can lead to a sudden confrontation, swift, intense, and sometimes dangerously unpredictable. But for us, hunting wild boars has never been just a risky adventure. It is the way we contribute to protecting the land we live on from an invasive species that has become too strong and too difficult to control. We set out from a narrow path running through the forest. From this point, it's easy to penetrate deep into the woods, and it intersects with many trails left by wild animals, making it a perfect place to set up an ambush. Hunting means always staying alert and ready, but there are still encounters that take us by surprise. Logan pointed toward a small wild boar crossing the path. The gun was immediately loaded. And with a single gunshot, the boar dropped, lying at the edge of the trail, covered in dry leaves. Not wasting any time, as soon as the excitement from the first trophy settled, the whole team began moving deeper into the forest. The ground was covered with dry leaves, which made it extremely easy to create noise. Every step had to be light, sliding sideways instead of stepping down hard. Logan stopped midway to listen first. Then suddenly, a group of wild boars appeared within sight. But instead of firing immediately, Logan chose one that had separated from the group and was moving alone toward us. He raised his rifle, steadied it against his shoulder, and firmly pulled the trigger. Bang! The heavy body collapsed without a chance to react. Gunfire echoed from somewhere in the forest, likely from the other end of the team. The booming sounds felt like a surge of energy flooding me with adrenaline. In that very moment, an unlucky wild boar came into my sights. Not allowing myself any mistake, I carefully followed its movement, pressing the barrel close behind it. Perfect. The bullet struck its back, bringing it down on the spot. At the same time, gunfire continued to roar across the forest. I was sure that under that storm of bullets, not just one, but several wild boars had already been taken down. It didn't take us long to find the next targets. And soon enough, one showed up. In just a brief 2-second window, as the boar ran and then suddenly hesitated, Logan seized the golden moment and pulled the trigger. One shot, one kill. This time, luck was no longer on the side of the destructive beasts. Unexpectedly, that turned out to be a lucky move. We had barely settled in when a dark figure quietly approached. I lined up the target in my scope and pulled the trigger without hesitation. It had wandered in completely unaware and dropped on the spot without a chance to react. Farther out near the edge, Merrick was already lying in wait. A wild boar was moving along the outer boundary, heading into the forest. But suddenly, a gunshot rang out. In an instant, the bullet hit its back, and the boar fell right into the forest's edge. And They are invaders, spreading disease and wreaking havoc wherever they go. Wild boars. Not only do they cause devastating damage to crops and the environment, but they're also carriers of dozens of dangerous diseases. If left unchecked, their numbers will multiply uncontrollably, leading to catastrophic consequences. Today, we set out with one goal in mind: to hunt down and eliminate these destructive pests. Watch every thrilling moment, every intense confrontation, and see how we take them down. With their sharp noses and extraordinary hunting instincts, our dogs quickly track down a wild boar. A dark figure bolted across the endless white landscape, charging forward like a storm. But before it could disappear into the dense undergrowth, I pulled the trigger. A single shot rang out. We climbed higher, deploying a drone to gain a better vantage point over the boar's movement. And it was a perfect decision. Our hunting dogs had locked onto a target, chasing it with breathtaking speed. The pursuit led straight to the open field where we had set up an ambush. A gunshot echoed through the valley, but the boar kept running. It was persistent, but so elusive. We fired again. The second shot, the beast staggered and collapsed. Instinctively, they sought refuge, and the only safe place left was the desert. If we didn't act now, they would return in just a few days, causing even more destruction. Our experienced hunting team quickly devised a plan. We split into smaller groups, securing every possible escape route. The highest peak was chosen as the lookout. The barren branches and rugged terrain made our approach difficult. But then a silhouette emerged ahead, our target. It tried to escape, but our skilled hunting dog intercepted its path. Cornered, the beast made a desperate move, charging forward in a final attempt to fight back. I steadied my aim, unshaken. As it lunged, I pulled the trigger. The gunshot shattered the silence, halting its charge instantly. Across the hill, my teammates fired as well. The hunt was over, sealed in gun smoke and victory. Dusk was approaching, but we pressed on, making every second count. From our vantage point on the high ridge, I spotted a herd of wild boars gathered below, oblivious to the looming danger. Years of hunting experience guided our next move. We held our breath, steadied our rifles, and took the shot. The first bullet cracked through the air, shattering the stillness. The herd scattered in panic, but we didn't let them escape. A relentless barrage of gunfire followed, cutting off their retreat. Nearly a dozen boars. Only 2 managed to flee. Like warriors charging in a battle, our hunting dogs sprinted across the battlefield, their eyes scanning every tree, every bush. Their growls were sharp, aggressive. A panicked wild boar dashed across our path. This was the moment. I stepped forward, aimed, and fired. The bullet tore through its thick hide. The beast let out a feral roar, before collapsing, lifeless. It had barely hit the ground before our dogs swarmed in to claim their victory. Just as we thought the hunt was over, our dogs erupted into a frenzy, barking wildly at a dense bush. Something was hiding inside. A strange sense of urgency filled the air. This wasn't an ordinary hunt. We tightened our grip on our weapons, ready for anything. Everything happened in an instant. Instinct took over. I pulled the trigger. The bullet flew, striking the beast dead center.